So hello, everybody. Welcome to a new show, which is for anybody who is into football and also who wants to learn English. That is the idea. So this is a live YouTube show where my guests and I talk about football, especially the Premier League, the Premiership, the famous league, I would say the most famous league in the world. And it's also an English lesson, so we're going to be explaining vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar as we talk, so all that. All right, so I think it's time to introduce ourselves. First of all, my name is Zdenek, and I'm an English teacher, and I'm from the Czech Republic. And my guests today are...
Yo.
Who are you?
Oh, sorry. I was just waiting for you to introduce me. But yeah, I am Nrup. I'm a university student studying in Prague, Charles University, and I'm from India. Another fellow native speaker of English language.
Okay, nice one. We might have more guests in the future, of course, in the future, but also today. So the idea is this is not just me, but there's going to be at least one guest, but usually more. Hopefully, that's the idea. Okay, so we are here to talk about football, obviously, but of course, this is a weekly show. So I'd just like to remind you, I want us to do this every week, every Monday evening, Central European time, around this time. Okay. So if you don't want to miss it, you should hit that subscribe button. And also, since this is a completely brand new show, we would appreciate a like as well, because it does help the algorithm. It will show it to more people, basically. By the way, we have got a super chat here on the side, of course. So whoever is watching this live, feel free to ask us questions in the super chat. And this is an interactive show. So if the questions are relevant and expressed in a polite manner, we'll do our best to respond. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? So, Nrup, you and football. How did this come about?
Well, it's been a long story. So the earliest I can remember of football would be when I was watching Arsenal football somewhere in 2007, 2008, when Arsenal had lost the Invincibles. And
Yeah.
I never knew about Invincibles. I knew about few players, but I was more attracted to Arsene Wenger and his philosophy. And I liked how it was just him. Arsenal wasn't about any player. Arsenal was about a coach. Arsenal was about a leader. And I believe that for me, a manager, coach should be the highest position and not a player. And that's what a team should be. And I really like this philosophy. And that's when I started following it. But regarding football, I started properly following football when I moved to Qatar somewhere in 2012, 2013. I moved over there, and it's a country full of football lovers. Everyone loves football over there.
Because let's be honest, in India, the sport number one is cricket, yeah? So I would be surprised if this is something you grew up with in India.
Definitely.
It's mostly cricket, right?
Yes. It's cricket, and then comes, let's say, European football or something. There's no Indian football, and that's a pity. But who knows, maybe in 20, 30 years, we might have our own football and our own identity. So, yep. And then in Qatar, I started following football. I went to see some matches from the local leagues, and it was fascinating. I was really a fan because that was my first experience in a stadium, and I used to see how players play and how fans behave, and it was nice. And then slowly, because of distance, I lost the interest in cricket. Not lost, but I was losing it. And then also how cricket was growing, I did not really like it. And then and then there was this rise in football, and then I started watching football on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I was following Arsenal and Barcelona because I liked how they played football. It wasn't about the club. It wasn't about what they achieved. But it was more about how they really played the football, how they managed the club, the identity. And it was really fascinating for me. And I believe every Arsenal fan would love Barcelona for some reason, and for some reason, every Barcelona fan would like Arsenal for sure. I don't know why. I don't know
Okay.
how.
Perhaps
But
the
for me,
philosophies are similar. I mean,
perhaps yes.
they like to pass the ball around a lot. Yeah, a lot of
Pass the
build-up
ball,
play, a
definitely.
lot of possession, and all that. That was the as you mentioned the word philosophy. I think that was part of the philosophy that Arsene Wenger had. Right. By the
Exactly.
way, let's keep the promise. We said this is an English lesson, so we're gonna be teaching you some stuff as well. So the verb to follow, which I'm writing in the chat now, and so I'm gonna show as a comment. If you follow a football team, if you follow a club, it actually means that you support it. It means you are a football fan affiliated to that club, right? So, for example, Nrup follows Arsenal, right? Arsenal London team. Yeah. Oh, let's be honest. So do I. Although, as I like to say these days, I'm kind of cheating on Arsenal with another team. I don't know if I've told you this, Nrup, but because Arsenal have been letting me down, have been disappointing me for so long now, I'm losing temper a little bit with them. I'm at the end of my tether. Do you know this one? It's a good idiom to use.
Yes,
To
I've
be
heard
at
of
the
it.
end of your tether. You know what it means?
Basically, you have reached your limits and things are going beyond the border. It's crossing the
Yeah.
borderline.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
And
it's too much a bit. It's a bit too much for me. So I'm
definitely too much.
cheating. I'm cheating because I also started following another club now, which is West Ham United. And the reason this is happening is not just because Arsenal are bad, because that would mean that I'm a bad football fan because I have to be loyal to my club. I am still loyal to Arsenal. Arsenal is like my wife. It's my wife. I'm married to Arsenal, yeah. But I also have a mistress now. I have a lover on the side, and it's West Ham. And the reason is because there are too many there are too many Czech players in West Ham United. As I am Czech, I'm from the Czech Republic, so I guess it's a bit of like national pride in me or something. But it's kind of fun watching Czech players doing well in the Premier League, which is obviously the toughest league in the world. So I am an Arsenal fan, so I'm with you, and I'm going through a lot of negative emotions these days because Arsenal haven't started the season particularly well, have they, Nrup?
I definitely agree. We ever since Wenger left, we have been going iffy in terms of our season. We have been going. There have been lots and lots of highs and lows. Our highest point would have been Europa League final. I think that was peak of post Wenger era, and then later we just collapsed. And then again there was this hope. So amidst this ups and downs, I think the main problem was we were not stable. And Arsenal is such a club that wants to be stable. Arsenal needs stability. You have clubs like Real Madrid, you have clubs like Manchester City, you have clubs like Chelsea. Those clubs, they run on instability. And for them, instability helps them achieve success. And yes, they achieve trophies, silverwares, amazing players. They reach heights that Arsenal have never achieved. But the thing is, it's at the end of the day, it's about the club's philosophy, the club's ideology, and I believe Arsenal needed stability, and we had to be humble. We had to accept this that okay, we are no more the elite club. We are the fallen giants.
Yeah, but that's really tough for a lot of people to take because it hasn't been that. I know it seems like ages that we won the league, right? But let's be honest. We should be there. It should be up there, and there are a lot of people who still remember it. 15 years ago, was it 17 years ago when we last won the title, something like that? 15, 16, 17 years ago, right?
It will be another
Wow,
million.
really?
And we've got another guest here. Hi, Marvin. Hello. Can you hear us?
Hello, my friend.
Hello. Welcome
yes,
to
I
the
can
show.
hear you, my man.
Nice one.
How are you doing? Thank you very much. I heard you saying something about 15 or so years since you won the title. It's probably going to be another 20 to 30.
Here we go. Yeah. Well, that's what's happening. Football fans of our team, are going to football fans of our other teams are going to take the mickey of Arsenal. That's the way it is these days. And we've got one of such fans, Marvin. Marvin, would you mind introducing yourself? Tell us where you're from and what team you support.
Well, I'm from England, and I'm a lifelong 28 years Chelsea fan, or a Chelsea fan for 28 years. So that's my team. So our fortunes are a lot different to that of Arsenal, but it wasn't always the case. Not when I was younger. It was a little bit different. But it's good to see now that I'm older, I don't have to deal with that added stress.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a lifelong fan. The word lifelong is a very nice piece of vocabulary. So that one means that you've been supporting the club for a long time, for your entire life, you could say. There's another nice adjective that we can use to describe let's say, a hardcore fan. Someone that really, really supports their club. A diehard fan, right? A diehard. Are you a diehard?
Absolutely. Till the very end, the heart attacks, the high blood pressure, and then all those other things that come with die hard. It's die hard, I think. I don't know if it's.
I think it's die hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, you're right. I also heard die hard, though, but yeah, I think it's you.
You might be right. You might be right.
Well, let me check it. I'm going to be checking it as we speak. I've heard both, but yeah. So you're saying it's going to be die hard?
I believe so. Yeah. It could be die hard. Might be.
You're right. You're probably right. Yeah.
Never heard of die hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So,
well,
Chelsea
Arsenal fans could have been. You can say Arsenal fans as die hard fans because we have been lots of hearts have been breaking up, and then classic example is you, Zdenek. Come on, your heart has been broken, and then someone else stole it. West Ham.
It's no. I'm still an Arsenal fan. I'm just saying I started watching other teams in other teams' football matches. That's it, And I wish them all the best because they're, like I said, there are 3 Czech players in West Ham. It's like I don't have a choice, or more or less, because it's almost pointless watching Arsenal these days. It's just ridiculously boring. What can I say? My expectations are a bit higher. So I don't. At the moment, I don't consider myself a die-hard Arsenal fan. Once again, it's die-hard. My apologies. It's die-hard. What about you, Nrup? Are you a die-hard Arsenal fan? You also mentioned that you support Barcelona. So how can you be a die-hard fan supporting 2 teams? I'm not sure how that works.
Well, I would say first of all, I love football, and I have my own way of liking football. Some people they like I say, defensive football or attacking football, possessional. Some people like, let's say, physical football. So for me, Arsenal and Barcelona, they have always been somewhere on the same level in terms of players, in terms of ideology, in terms of managers. And yes, definitely, my favorite player would always be Lionel Messi. He's my favorite player of all time. I always look up to him. And whenever I used to watch him playing Barcelona, how he carried, it reminded me of how Arsene Wenger carried Arsenal. That's what reminded me of Messi carrying Barcelona. Okay. And yeah, I saw the similarities, and I just fell in love with both of these teams. And why not? Why, like, the world exists in polygamy as well, so why not?
Yeah.
Well, it does sound like we are living off our memories now a little bit, doesn't it? It's like we are speaking in a nostalgic way. I mean, we should be succeeding now and then, and it's not happening for us. So Marvin, your team, it's the exact opposite, because obviously you have just won the Champions League. I mean, last season you won the Champions League, which is the biggest competition that you can actually win, I think. Yeah, it's questionable whether it's the Premier League or Champions League, but in terms of the world renown, I guess it's Champions League, right?
Well, I would agree that it's Champions League more than the Premier League. A lot of people disagree with that, but I think it's much harder to win the Champions League because you play against the best teams in the world, not the best teams in the country. If you're competing in the, I mean, maybe in the Champions League you are competing only against 5 teams, but those 5 teams are likely going to be better than the 5 best English teams. It will be, I think, a lot harder. You know, you win against like Liverpool or Manchester City. It's very difficult, but I don't think just those 2 against, like I said, Barcelona, Real Madrid, who else? Not Bayern Munich and these kind of teams. It would be hard. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it's going with Chelsea. But it's not always that way. Every season for us is chaos. So whilst you guys, as fans of Arsenal, you kind of maybe you know what's coming and you can kind of switch off emotionally. Maybe it's hard to do that. I get it, but. Like, for example, last season was the same for me. I was frustrated. I was really angry in mid-season. The games were terrible. We were losing, throwing games, and then we changed the coach, and that, which is great. And it's great when we win at the end, but there's a lot of ups and downs. Like every single season, there are very few seasons where we've just walked it and it's been pretty stress-free. That almost never happens. And if you come, we used to get beaten. We used to get beaten by Arsenal all the time. Actually, when I was younger, we would lose. It'd always be the same. We would score first. They'd win 2-1. We'd score first. We'd lose 3-2. But I didn't really have a big problem with Arsenal when I was young. When I was a kid, I thought they were okay. I liked the way they played. Like Nrup said about their similarities in play style, I think that was the case for about 3 years. Definitely not now. And for the last 6-7 years. But when Wenger was there at the beginning, they had players like Bergkamp and Henry and Sylvain Wiltord. They were just so great to watch. You had Vieira, people like this, which made them fun to watch. I always cheered for them over Man United because I really hate this club with a passion. But now essentially, I don't want to talk too much about other people's teams, but when I watch Arsenal now, I do worry. I think a lot of the problems for you guys are the fans that overrate the players. And I think that even that happens in Chelsea as well. You get some players that are not quite there yet that people think are amazing just because they're of passport or because, but now we've won the Champions League. It's definitely there. But there are players that are young. They're not actually ready to be the guy, So we do have a big problem with that too, the same like you guys do. But hopefully the success may continue. I really hope that it will. Since like 97, which is only a few years into me watching, they won the FA Cup. And I know a lot of fans, they expect the league or the Champions League every year. But for me, any one trophy, and I'm happy for the whole season. I couldn't care less if it was the Carabao Cup or even the Charity Shield. And I know you guys like to celebrate those as major trophies.
No, come on. That's like a Mickey, they call it the Mickey Mouse Cup. Come on. Sure. Anyway, yeah, it's the status quo now. You are a much more superior club. By the way, when you said that you hate Manchester United with passion, I am going to have some Manchester United fans here on this show in the future. So that will be an interesting encounter, having you, Marv, and that Manchester United fan in one show. It's going to be interesting.
I will bring my statistics.
It's just for the first time, when we invite a Spurs fan, a Tottenham Hotspur fan, that's going to be fun too.
For us,
that's a club that I don't think they have ever won anything, or I can't possibly remember when it was last time they won something.
Since I've been alive, I think they've won 2 trophies. One of them was the Carabao Cup, or the Carling Cup against us. They got a very lucky goal in extra time, and they also won, I think, the FA Cup in 1990. I think it might have been. That was back when Gary Lineker was playing and not on Match of the Day. It was a very long time.
And you could say that right now, as of now, they are a better team than Arsenal. They have
close.
They have been above us in, I think, 3 or 4 back-to-back seasons. I think so. They are a better club than us at the moment, but they still haven't won anything.
I'm not sure that they would be a better club per se, because they've never really won anything, or at least not since I've been alive. So even if you come second and you beat Arsenal 10-0 5 seasons in a row, you don't win anything. It means absolutely nothing. And Arsenal have won things, you know.
That's true.
They did win those FA Cups. I know they were unfair victories the last 2 or 3 times, but they still actually have those, which Tottenham does not have.
That's questionable, but yeah. Well, this show is also about banter, guys. Yeah, this is gonna happen here a lot. So we're gonna be taking the mickey of out of each other, and that's part of football. That's part of being a football fan. That's it, you know. By the way, there's a question for you here from Maxim. This is for you, Marv.
Yes,
so you had been the Chelsea fan before Mr. Abramovich bought them.
Absolutely. I was a fan because my dad is a Chelsea supporter, so he took me to my first game, which was against Tottenham in like 1993 or 4. I think it's one of those seasons, and we won 4-3 in the last minute. The Chelsea now, I mean, it's the same club, but it's a very, very different type of club than it was back then. When I went to the games, one of the stands was actually being rebuilt, and there was just a giant like advertising board on one whole side of the stadium. It was crazy. Yeah, so I was a fan before we were bought by Mr. Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, you mentioned an interesting word, stands. So obviously it's a verb to stand, like someone can stand, but here it's a noun, and also it's used in this plural form as well. Basically, when we think of a stadium, yeah, we've got different stands. Am I saying it correctly? We've got like different sections
Absolutely.
in the stadium, and it's where the football fans sit. which is a bit illogical, isn't it? Like it's called stands and football fans sit there. What's going on there, Nrup? Why do you think it's called stands and not sits?
Well, because those seats where you sit are actually standing, because they have.
What?
I know how it sounds, because that's the beauty of the language, and that's the beauty of architecture. Many times architecture must have created lots of misunderstanding regarding the language. And like they say, a building is already built, so why is it called a building? And just like that,
okay. I don't know. I always thought that this is because in the past, football fans used to stand, right? That's my theory, but maybe yours is correct, because I haven't checked it. I would have to search it online somewhere.
I think it might be because the stadium is standing, so that there are stands inside. It's quite confusing, especially regarding the point about the building, because we could think of it like as in the gerund becoming a noun form, but even then it's weird. That's the beauty of the language, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, football fans used to be able to stand, but then it became too dangerous. Like people realized, I think there have been some disasters, right? Was it in Manchester? Where was this? Hillsborough? What was it called? Hillsborough?
There was an unfortunate incident, in Hillsborough, where I believe the stand actually crushed fans, and it was a very horrible incident.
Yeah. So I think maybe this is where it all goes back to. I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at the. Oh, there's an interesting comment. Vlad says, "True fans never sit. True fans never sit." True fans always stand and cheer for their team. And
I was going to mention some banter there about that actually it's called stands for every other club, but for Manchester United fans, they just sit down and pay the money.
There you go. I mean, now that we do have to have a Manchester United fan, otherwise it wouldn't be fair, you know. Okay, lovely. So let's take a look at I'm going to share my screen now, and let's take a look at the table. So this is going to
be fun.
I mean, we're going to punish ourselves even more, Nrup, by looking at the table. Yeah. Now, when I say the table, I don't mean the table that you sit at when you eat your dinner, but this table, right? The table of the results of the matches, of the football matches. So that's where the teams stand after how many rounds? Was it 6 rounds? Has it been 6 rounds?
6 games, 6 or 5, 6 games.
5. Looks 5.
Yeah. So on the right you can see 5. It says 5 here, so it's 5
games.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So Chelsea on the top. Yeah.
Come on, let's do this. And we had some hard games as well.
Shoulder to shoulder with Liverpool, though. I mean, you have the same goal difference, 11 goals plus, I think.
But they've only played against bums, whereas
against whom?
Against bums, as in pretty much
Chelsea.
Jobber teams. Well, 10 men Chelsea that didn't concede a goal apart from a penalty that wasn't one.
Have you spelled that word, Marvin? The word bums, like B-U-M-S.
The same as the body. Yeah, the same as the body part.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So apparently, guys, you can call bad teams, so teams that that of low quality bums. There you go. Some British English slang.
I think they've only played Chelsea in that were a good team. I think they play like Crystal Palace, Leeds, and just teams that are not that good. So I think the Liverpool's points tally is a little bit deceiving. I think that if you're looking at some of the other teams, like I think Man United have got very, very lucky, but they've done okay. I mean, if you look at the teams that Liverpool have played, it was like Leeds and who is it? I'm trying to see who else they played, apart from Chelsea. And even that was a 10-men Chelsea, and they couldn't score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but look at us. Nrup, look at us. Look at Arsenal.
Oh, beautiful.
In the 13th place. How unlucky. 13.
Yep. I would say we are. There is a lack of luck. I think there has always been lack of luck. When it came to even Wenger, we had injuries. We had definitely terrible refereeing. And
like
of course,
a lack of luck.
I think we might have to change the stadium again.
All right. Yeah. So we moved from Highbury to the Emirates Stadium. And now, what place are you suggesting then now, Nrup?
I have no idea. How about somewhere in Prague?
Maybe you should go to Qatar, where you used to live, because
right in the
as
middle
far
of
as I know, they're quite rich. They're gonna host the World Cup now, Nrup.
Definitely. It's going to be the last World Cup for many fans. Many football stars as well. End of an era, beginning of a new era. A controversial World Cup. It might define the future of football. That's what I think so.
Yeah, Marvin, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say, do you think that Arsenal would be able to win the Qatar League?
Not now. Probably not now. It's what we call it's a project. Yeah, it's a project.
Sure, but unlike Liverpool,
project.
We heard that under Lampard last season. It's interesting to say, because I think whilst Liverpool have had quite favourable games, Arsenal haven't, right? I mean, you've played in some tough games already, right? I mean, they lost the Brentford game, they played Chelsea, and they played Manchester City. So I mean, they're tough games. So you could say that your league position is not completely reflecting where maybe you will be in the next maybe 5 and 6 games. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. I have no idea who do we play next for the next 5 games, but I would definitely say there has been improvement. We have been improving. We have been getting our squad back, and it's right now still a recovery phase, build-up phase, and basically right now, Arsenal have been doing much better, I would say, under Arteta than Chelsea would have had under Lampard. Because look at the players Lampard had and look at the players Arteta has.
Yeah, I
would agree with that. I think that's a fair point, because I mean, then again, I mean, we were never below 10th, but at the same time, again, yeah, that's true. We did have the player, especially last season. I mean, he was given a lot of players to supplement the way of play, and we just was not doing that. And I mean, you could argue, and I think it's quite fair what you said. I think you could argue there aren't world-class players at Arsenal right now. I mean, there's one, in my opinion, this is my opinion as an outsider. I don't watch every Arsenal match. But for me, without Aubameyang, the team is not going to win against anyone in the Premier League. With Aubameyang, I think you are going to win games. But I think there is a problem. There is a problem with the level of players that they have. I know they're trying to go young a little bit with some of them. I saw like Sambi Lukonga. I think there is a potential there. Smith Rowe, I think, is a pretty good player that you have. There's an argument for Saka's good at 1v1. So you can open up spaces behind the lines. And I think they can do well there. I think there are a lot of problems other than those players. I think that there are overrated players in the wing-back position. I think that the defence is pretty bad. I mean, if we're talking about Premier League quality, is there a defender in there that would make any of the top 8? I'm not sure.
Maybe I don't know.
I would say
Tierney is good.
I would say Gabriel is up there. I would say Gabriel is up there. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, he had injuries, but then look, when he came back from the injuries, Arsenal have been performing incredible. If you look at last season as well, Arsenal, there was a reason why we had, second or third best defense in Premier League? I think it was second best defense in Premier League. Why though? We had Gabriel, we had Luis, we had
Gabriel
others.
is good, yeah.
Luis was a great player.
Luis,
great player.
I'm not sure about Arsenal, but definitely under Chelsea he was a legend. He's a Chelsea legend, but under Arsenal, I'm not sure he wasn't as promising.
I mean, the fans were a bit skeptical about David Luiz when he came, especially because of obviously the past, the Chelsea past, and but to be honest, I think on the whole he did all right. So I wish actually he had stayed a bit longer.
I just
checked. Towards the end, he had some character, but still, the thing was, he wasn't great as a defender. He had a character. He could have been a captain, but really, I don't even think he should have been a starter. But the thing was, we didn't have anyone else.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. He was basically a better than nothing player.
I just checked. They had 39 goals conceded last season, which is less than Chelsea conceded 36 and Manchester City 32. So their overall defensive side of the game was, it looks like it was okay.
But you also have to think. You also have to look at like two different halves of the season, because the first half we were atrocious. Yeah, to be honest, we thought we were going to get relegated. That's how badly we played. We had a run. Honestly, we had such a bad run of not winning 8 games in a row or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was so bad. But then in the second half of the season, we managed to turn it around and finished in a right behind. I think it was right behind Tottenham. We almost got the Conference League spot actually.
Yeah. I would say I like how people are underestimating, how people actually are forgetting what quality Arsenal has. Yes, we definitely don't have world-class players, but the thing is there are many players right now who are promising. Arsenal, yes, Gunners, they tend to overrate some players, but the thing is, at the end of the day, we need to support players. We need to push them harder. We need to show that our players do have the potential. So I think when Gunners, we rate players based on their potential and not based on their performance. Performance definitely subpar, below world class, but potential-wise, they can be world class. They can be. We definitely had lots of ex-Arsenal players who were world class. In fact, they could have been future Ballon d'Or players, but you see, there have been circumstances where they left the club or injuries and other problems happened.
Yeah. By the way, not this one. Sorry, the phrase "a world-class player." That's a good one in English. Yeah, a world-class player. So, in your opinion, Marvin?
Yes.
What's a world-class player? What attributes does a world-class player have to have in order to be qualified as world-class?
So we don't really have enough time for all of that. So if we were to condense that down, I think there are a few different things. Are they indispensable in their position? Do they do things that regular players cannot do? Do they win trophies? So I think they're all involved in that. If we're talking about world class, let's take, for example, let's take a striker let's take Mohamed Salah, who, he's definitely a world class player. He scores a lot of goals. Liverpool won a lot of things. He fits what I would consider the criteria. The season before last, and don't say that I don't think that I'm making fun of Arsenal. I'm not. I thought the same about Chelsea a few seasons ago, that we only had one world-class player as well, and that was Kante, because what he does in the midfield, then no one else in the game can actually do. I think if we're talking about, I wanted to come back, we're talking about world-class, the players that really stand out, that win you games on their own. I think at Chelsea currently, we've got a few of those. I think if we're looking at Arsenal, I would say that Aubameyang is one of those, because he's an elite level scorer. Everywhere he goes, he gets at least 14 plus goal and assist plus per season, right? So, yeah. And he come back even recently and scored, So I would consider him to be there. It was a player I wanted for Chelsea years ago. But again, we're talking about potential. When we rate on potential, we make that mistake as fans, because we look at an academy, a player that comes from the academy, and instantly we think this player is special. We have the same problem. We did it with Hudson-Odoi. I don't know if you guys think that Hudson-Odoi is like that, but for me, it's not a world-class player. Hasn't done anything. He's actually played for 4 years at the club, and he's got, I think, like 2 goals, 3 assists last season, something like that. It's not really what you would consider. And again, how do we judge potential as fans? We're fans, we're not coaches. So how do we judge what potential actually is? Do we think that Bukayo Saka is going to become one of the best wingers in the world? I don't think so. Do we think that? I mean, you guys said about Kieran Tierney. It seems to be a general consensus that people think he's very good, but the guy cannot defend. And there is a Hector Bellerin. He was there I remember when he started playing, people said People said he was going to be something really unique, special, and that never happened.
Okay, so basically your point is that the player has to win something as well. And I think Ahmed is also saying, Ahmed is saying, he's asking, is Harry Kane world class? To which I answered, I think so.
Good discussion.
Yeah, but he's saying, but he hasn't won anything, which
good discussion.
I think is a good point,
Yeah, it's a very good point.
But then again, isn't he the England captain, and England got into final, and that for me is a massive achievement. Sometimes, do you need to win like that? Is that what you need? I guess so.
There are obviously outliers. There are obviously exceptions. It's not black and white for every single situation. However, Harry Kane has won things. Yeah. He's won the Golden Boot in the World Cup at international and club level.
Right.
So he has won things. I would say he is world class, but I do think he is declining. And if you look at his performances in big games, finals, they've had semi-finals, they had finals, and he's done almost nothing in all of them. So it's a question that must be asked. It's that's what a lot of fans, when they're watching sport, they look at this and they're, it's amazing, he scored 25 goals. But if 25 goals were against Burnley and 1 assist was against West Brom, we got to give it that fair analysis. Now, I think he probably is world class, and he has won individual honours. So I think that's a very good question. But again, I agree because
then you could, for example, argue that what if there is a player that is extremely good, but plays for a shit team, What about that? And it happens sometimes, especially in international football, right? You have got someone like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, let's say. I mean, Sweden never get into the quarterfinals or semifinals or finals. They have a decent team, but I don't think Zlatan is ever going to win the World Cup. Or
no, There are obviously times when that cannot happen. It's an impossibility. There are players that are like that as well. You think about it, but those players normally eventually do go to big clubs. So I think there's a few examples where that hasn't happened. If you look at Wilfried Zaha, I think that's a fantastic player. And I think he would prove his world-class level if he did play in a big club. But that's an outlier. Most of them do go. If you think about players that went from small clubs to big clubs, it's happened a lot, and a lot of the time they've gone from the big fish small pond scenario, and then they've gone to the big pond and they haven't done anything. It's happened so many times. I mean, you just need to look at, think about who we've taken. Think about Sean Wright-Phillips might be an example, but I really liked him. But you're thinking about Alvaro Morata doesn't really count because he played. I'm trying to think of an example, but people that have gone from a small club to a big club, and just haven't done well.
Fair enough. All right, Nrup, looking at this table again, so can you see any surprises? Has anything surprised you apart from Arsenal doing badly? Has anything surprised you there?
Yes, for me, the surprising team would be Leeds. Wolverhampton definitely up there.
So
And
Leeds,
Manchester-
what do you mean Leeds? Why?
Leeds United.
Yeah.
I really thought really
yeah.
high of Marcelo
Mhm.
Bielsa, the manager, and the team itself. Great quality, great competition last season.
Absolutely.
I really thought this time they were up there in top 5. They could have been a really strong force in some way, but this, as of now, they have really been
3 points.
just attacking, no defense. Like they're basically a team that everyone would like to thrash. It's basically they are just an entertainment movie with no plot, just pure entertainment.
It looks like Brighton have hit the ground running this season. Look at them, 12 points. They're in the Champions League spot. What's going on there?
Well, Brighton, people have been praising them for past 2 seasons. Good football. I think Brighton is what people used to think of Leeds, but in reality, is Brighton is how I would say Brighton is how attacking football should be played. The way how you connect with teams, the way how you play fast attacking football, goals galore. That's what Leeds should learn from them, and I think Leeds should have been there in the place of Brighton. And look at the players that Brighton has. Look at the manager. I think people are underestimating them. People are not even talking about Brighton, and that's what I like about it. The Seagulls have been doing great.
Seagulls, yeah. That's what we call them. All right. I've got one question here for Nrup, and that's because Nrup is studying medicine, so he's going to be a doctor.
Cool.
Apparently, a football player is 5 times more likely to develop dementia. They have done some research, and there are people in England who want to ban heading the ball because of that, because they say it causes brain injuries, and it's going to have an impact on you when you grow up, when you grow old. So when you go old. So what do you think about this, Nrup? Is this true, or where do you stand on this? What do you think should be done? Should we ban headings? I can't imagine it.
Well, honestly, the thing is, at the end of the day, the players are risking themselves to earn money, and sport itself is a different philosophy. I believe players, they should have been known beforehand by the medical professionals and other sources. I think heading shouldn't be banned. Instead, there should be some other gear, like they say, because in olden times they didn't have, let's say, shin pads or some sort of high-end socks for football. So as football evolves, I believe due to technology, people might have different gears, different props to tackle, let's say, heading. People might even introduce a new form of heading. They might even give you foul if you head them in a different way. You never know. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's research, and research is it's never a fact. It's a research, so it changes from people to people, football to football, because I don't think people play the same football in South America or in Asia compared
That's
to
true. That's a good
even
point.
in Europe itself. Italy, Central Europe, far in Russia, they play different levels of football. So it depends on where you play football. But yeah, like I said, if you end up getting dementia, well, it's individual thing. You decided to play football, you face the consequences. You earn 200K a week. Come on.
Okay, well, what do you think, Marvin?
Well, I think Nrup is right there, actually, because you do know the risks when you decide to take on specific careers. I think that there are with these kind of things, there's always a middle ground where you can find an acceptable solution. Like, I don't think they should ban heading from the game. They could ban it from training, unless they're doing specific set piece plays or whatever. They could ban it from the ground, the practices or whatever, or the young levels or age 12, and things like that. Possibly there's something they could think about, but I don't think they could ban it from the game. You know, what are Burnley going to do?
I just wanted to say, Marvin, that right, that's what their football is based on. Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. But I just wanted to say that I believe I've read it in an article, yeah, that there are already some limitations for how many hard headers you can make in a training session.
Oh, okay.
That's I read it in an article. I'm speaking about England now. So
I didn't know that.
Apparently there is, but the question is that is it really, you know, observed? Is it followed? If this rule followed, who knows?
Well, I mean, I suppose if you head the ball like one, you know, you don't do it in training, that's at least maybe 10, 20 times less you would do it. I guess we're playing a numbers game, but like Nrup said, research is research the same way. So, I mean, I do agree. Again, you know, it's a highly paid, I know yeah, go ahead.
Now you say that, but maybe those people who started playing football a few years ago, 10 years ago, didn't know about that research. Nobody has told them. You know, that's the thing. Like, I think you should know your risks. You should know it.
Yeah.
At least. So it's good. It's good. I think it's good that it's talked about now these days. But I also agree with you guys that, you know, you make your own luck. Really, it's your risk. You're playing football.
Yeah.
And you're paid for it appropriately. Right? Okay, so do we have any more questions from any of our listeners here? Because I think we're gonna leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think it was an interesting conversation with you guys, with Nrup and Mark.
I loved it too. It was a lot of fun, actually.
Despite the fact that you are a Chelsea fan, I did enjoy it. I was ready for this. So
I enjoyed it a lot with you guys. Actually, I'm happy to do it more often.
It's part of the fun, and I hope you guys liked it. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to join next time. And if your English is good enough, you could even come on as a guest in the future. And yeah. What else is there to say? I guess that's it. So thank you very much. In the show notes, you will find links to my Instagram profile. To Marvin is also an English teacher. Did you say that at the beginning, Marvin?
No, we didn't mention it.
We didn't mention it. We should. We definitely should. That's why it didn't take you so long to correct the expression "die hard." Yeah.
Die hard. I love it. But it happens. It happens. We're creating new phrases here on your pod.
Exactly. Because the thing is, I've never had to actually write it. I always just said it. So I was just, what is it? Die hard? Die hard. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching, and you will find us on YouTube if you didn't manage to listen to this live. Obviously, you can watch it. I said listen, but you watch this. you watch YouTube videos, don't you? So you can always watch it again if this wasn't enough for you. And yeah, come join us next time.
Until the next time. Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, guys.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.